to Rockwood Connects, the informational, educational, and entertaining podcast of the Rockwood School District. I'm Dr. Cassandra Suggs.
And I'm Emily Walshaw.
We're so happy you joined us today because we have a fabulous show. You know it is the giving season, so hence we have two wonderful guests, Jaime Bays and Loralee Mondl for Rockwood Gives Back. So we're going to get started right away with our interview, and we hope you enjoy every bit of it.
Yes. Welcome, guests.
Thank you.
So can you start out by telling us what exactly is Rockwood Gives Back?
Sure. So Rockwood Gives Back is a program to support students and families in the Rockwood School District. We serve them with financial needs, physical needs like household goods, furniture, as well as personal care items, baby items, clothing, really anything, and food that a family might need.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And how did you get involved, Loralee?
Well, Jaime and I sometimes have these hair-schemed ideas. And,
Sometimes.
Jaime was working with a student at one of our elementary schools and just really felt like that the child needs some extra help. And so we had talked about it, and there were some other things that we wanted to do kind of on a bigger spectrum, right? And then eventually we kind of realized, working with Terry Harris and Maureen Smith already does Got Your Backpack. And eventually Kathy Order was with us and Dan Steinbrücke. It just really gave us an opportunity to kind of expand and figure out what we could do for our Rockwood families.
I love that.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the history and when Rockwood Gives Back got started?
Sure. So we started those conversations in 2017, early 2017.
Okay.
And we went out and visited other school districts. We looked at what Pattonville was doing. We looked at Maplewood, Richmond Heights. And then we kind of took their ideas and we had some of our own, and we came up with a program that was more unique to Rockwood. And so at that point, we started our financial assistance program that was grant-based. And then in the fall of 2019, thanks to the support of a lot of superintendents, both Dr. Knost and then into Dr. Miles, beginning of his time, we were able to acquire some space over at when the new Eureka Elementary opened up. In the lower level of what is now Eureka Early Childhood Center. And so that became the giving place. And we opened our doors there in November of 2019.
Well, and they're still open, which is wonderful.
And they're still
Yes.
open, that's right. That's right.
So who can use your services?
Anyone in Rockwood. So we primarily work with our social workers. Our social workers, we feel, have a really good pulse of the students in our buildings. And so obviously counselors and teachers can also refer our students, but we do look to our social workers to really kind of ask for grant money for different things, utilities, for rent, just to get a family that may be kind of down on their times to get to a better place.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So we know our students and their families and our staff, so many people benefit from Rockwood Gives Back. How can others, students, families, staff, get involved?
Great question. So we have a lot of people that have supported this program, which is why it has been so successful. So we've had a few fundraisers, and then 2020 occurred, and so we stopped some of those fundraisers, formal ones at the time, but we've done a lot of collections, and a lot of schools and PTOs do their own collections, which is awesome. So they have a specific idea in their community. They might reach out and say, what do you need the most right now? And then we'll let them know about that. During 2020, we received a lot of amazing donations. And in fact, I'm wearing a bracelet today from a little girl who started a bracelet making business and came up with a name for it. And all of the money that she earned from that business came to Rockwood Gives Back.
Wow.
So
That's
there's a
amazing.
million ways to support it, both being a physical volunteer at the giving place, but also in drives and collections and things like that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
If you recall those T-shirts, we are the Lancers, we are the Falcons.
Yes.
That was actually another fundraiser that Paige Ortnow headed up, that
Okay.
the proceeds went to Rockwood Gives Back. So the message is there's a lot of things that have been going on
Yes.
that you don't really hear about.
Yeah.
Different organizations in Rockwood that have donated money to Rockwood Gives Back. So it's really been, from people who have started it and kind of seen it go from where it started to now where we are. It's just really heartwarming to see how much love and support there is in Rockwood.
Yeah.
I love it because you never know when someone's going to be in need. And to have something in place already that we can just pull from is great.
Yeah.
So quick question then, what are the most requested items that you see coming through a lot?
Oh, laundry detergent. We end up
keep
stocking
it.
up, we can't keep it there. We've certainly, lately, there's been a lot of furniture, we have twin-size beds, queen-size beds. One of our feelings have always been that we want to make sure we're not just giving to families to limp them along. What we want is we want to actually support them so they can get to a better place themselves. Because if you're going to keep giving families something every month, to pay their utilities, well, then that's just a cycle. And we learned that when we went, I think it was when we visited Pattonville, they kind of mentioned that sort of thing to us. So that's always kind of in the back of our mind. So, yeah, laundry detergent for sure.
Yep.
Always have dirty clothes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if a family does need something that they think the Rockwood Gives Back program can provide for them, how should they reach out?
So we feel like the best way of doing that really is through the social workers. And so we do keep an inventory of everything that's there except for the clothing. And so it's helpful for us to have a process in place for knowing who's there from a physical safety standpoint, but also then, tracking those items so that we know what are we still in need of, or what other ways can families be supported, and what are we using the most? And so it is very helpful to know that certain things might sit on a shelf for longer than others, but laundry detergent, we always need it. We cannot keep it on the shelf. So we prefer that. Of course, our doors are open for administrators and counselors. We would love at some point to get to a place where we can just open up our doors and have families come in, maybe on particular days. And so we hope that is kind of in the growing stage of Rockwood Gives Back.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Great.
love the fact that you have so many opportunities, whether it's something household goods or a bed or financial assistance. Is there a limit to what a family could come and ask for if they need laundry detergent 4 times a year? Like, is there a limit at all?
No, not
Okay.
for that sort of
For
thing.
the items,
For
okay.
the items, right.
So they can just fill out forms anytime they need something.
Yeah, and I think most of the time what our social workers do is do come in, they know what the family needs, and they take things, they either send our Rockwood Gives Back email updated, because as Jamie said, we're trying to get, Jamie and I, we fight every now and then because I have to count the soap and the glue sticks. But to Jamie's point, I think, having records of what it is that we have kind of gone through over the years, I think shows a couple things, right? It does show there is a need, and it does show kind of those areas that we seem to need more of as time goes on.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And you guys touched on the financial support. Can you talk a little bit more about what that looks like for our families?
Yep. So the financial side of it, there is a limit, an annual limit that we keep in place just so that we make sure that we can support as many people in Rockwood as possible. And so that process is very confidential. The social worker or the school administrator, whomever it is, can go through and fill out that application, and then any identifying information is removed from that and sent to our committee, our steering committee, for approval. And typically what will happen is we want to make sure that all of the resources that might be out there for a family or a student to utilize have been looked at. And then we can make sure, because a lot of times it might be a request for an amount of money that's outside of the limit that we're at.
Yeah.
And so is there a way for us to meet our maximum but have someone else supplement that difference? And so that's kind of where we look at that from. From the physical donation side of things, there's no limit, but from that financial side, there is that annual cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does. So obviously you do so much, but I still think that you are a well-kept secret. I don't know that everyone knows. So is there anything you'd like to say as we close up to our listening audience about Rockwood Gives Back, or anything that's upcoming that you want to share?
I think you touched on it earlier that everybody needs help from time to time. And so the fact that a school district of our size has something like this in place to help families, and the confidentiality piece, like, we don't know who's asking for the money, we don't have names attached to it. So it's just, I think it really warms our heart to know that people are understanding that everybody needs something from time to time. So I think our biggest thing would be, right, coming up for the holidays. Do you think that we want to do some things with that? I'll pass it over to you.
For sure. And I definitely want to recognize that Rockwood Gives Back is like the big umbrella term for both Got Your Backpack and the services that the Giving Place or our financial program provides. So it really is all encompassing, and that Got Your Backpack program from Maureen Smith has been here years in advance of us coming up with our,
Sure.
what'd you say, harebrained ideas. So we definitely, we will look into some giving opportunities this fall as we move into the holidays. We want to make sure that families feel supported. We have a lot of wants at the Giving Place. So sometimes people think only in terms of need, but we have a lot of wants. So we would love to fulfill some wants for some families this holiday season. And certainly if anybody is looking to do some drives or make some donations, we would be willing to work with you and happy to provide some lists.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wonderful.
I love it.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today on this next episode.
It's been a wonderful time meeting with you, and the two of you, our audience may not realize this, but Emily and I know because we've been over to the Giving Place and we've spent time with you. Your hearts are in it, and it's so encouraging to see individuals so invested in helping other people. It's so selfless, and it's so needed in our world. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for all that you
You're
do.
welcome. And it's not
Thank
just
you.
us. There are a group of
Oh,
retired
yes.
teachers as well that are there every week.
Yeah.
And for them to come and do the work that they're doing too really speaks volumes about who they are and how they love Rockwood.
Absolutely. Thank you for spearheading it. Yeah. We appreciate it so much. Emily, I guess we're wrapping up.
Yeah, that's it for this episode. So thank you very much, listeners, for joining us. You can view our podcast and listen to it on YouTube, on our department website, or any podcast platform.
And again, we met with Rockwood Gives Back today. We hope you'll be a part of it, whether it's giving voluntarily or giving something, or if you need something, they're here for you. So we'll see you next time on Rockwood Connects.